can think about it either way. You can either lie to yourself and do half full, which is why they make antidepressants. I'm pretty sure now.
As Ron Swanson would say, never half-ass anything, whole-ass one thing. Right?
Yeah.
I do. It is easy to make excuses these days, though, because everything is so fucking terrible, right? It's
Yeah,
really,
people just want to really just
it's
go
it's
lay
it's
down,
it's
close the
so easy to go.
blinds.
I did the required things of me today, like asking more of me is unreasonable, right?
Dude, you know what I'm pissed off about? This brings me to my first topic of the day. Oh, Captain. Hey, man. All
We're just
right,
never
so
going to tell anyone to like or subscribe to the podcast.
listen,
We're just
like or
like here. We're in
subscribe, share in the
universe. We're in
views.
universe. We don't care, right? We're just in
Well,
universe.
okay,
We're
so
like
what
we
do I
don't even
start? Do
care.
I start it with music that it's like economyofnothing.com or just economy of nothing or economy
Well,
of nothing?
what I'd like you to do is get like so good at this that like you can like weave it naturally into conversation. So I was telling them the other day, economyofnothing.com, where they could find out.
Okay.
The way
All
that
right,
like make it
fine,
seem
fine,
like
fine,
Mr.
fine.
Green
I
was
could do that. No,
talking.
that's all you had to say the whole time. My gosh.
Mark Zuckerberg has lost, right? No one's gonna remember Mark Zuckerberg. So here we are in the future, and like he says, Facebook will be consumed by like something else. Like it's lost the race of relevance or something, right? Like it still has so much of like people's data, but everyone has so much of people's data now, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
but they're
like
collecting that new data, That's why no one should buy their glasses. Honestly, they're AI glasses because that's what they're banking on. They're banking on getting all the data from wearing their Ray-Bans out there, like phones, which eventually could lead to AR or VR type more data, but probably just most likely to put more ads in front of your face because that's just the easiest way to make money these days.
man, like what? Like the idea of more fucking screens in my face. Do you know what I
Dude,
mean?
no, I would
You
love to
wouldn't
just be
believe.
wearing some Ray-Bans and then just all of a sudden a pop-up blocker's just like, block this
Oh my
ad.
god, I can't imagine anything worse. Like I can't I hate it sometimes when like my phone buzzes and like shake. Oh my god, just imagine you're just working and like how your phone makes you jump on occasion. Every single time a light flashes in your eye, it's this incoming call. You're gonna have an aneurysm, right? Like
So,
I don't know.
and you're not going to be able to silence it. Like at a
I
certain
know.
point in the future, once we all have brain chips implanted into our brain that are somehow telephone, and we can somehow like see through like contact lens or something. Um, it's basically going to get like that Black Mirror episode where the guy has to have like credits to be able to not have to watch the ad in his own bedroom sleeping or on your eyelids or something.
I mean that could tell when you think of like of like the dystopian way it could go. I was thinking about how like the thing that was so great for corporations for cell phones is that like we wanted them and they're so desperately trying to get another product that we want. Like I guess we wanted Fitbits, right? And that kind of worked, right? Because that made Amazon kind of be able to track their employees around or whatever. But like it didn't quite like but they want you wearing the glasses because if they could get everyone to wearing the glasses casually, then it could be like, hey, make sure your glasses are on while you're at your workstation or whatever. You know what I mean? Like like body cams for like white collar
Dude, I
jobs.
never
Do you
thought
know what I
about it
mean?
that way, but yeah, they would totally use it for that. Why wouldn't
Right?
they? I mean, they say they
Hey,
wouldn't now,
we'll
but
buy
whenever
you.
things got hard, they'd be like, guys, it is our fiduciary duty to do what's best for the shareholders. Man, if that's not like the law that probably fucks over 90% of America half the time, just that law every year over year growth. Like, I get it. I understand it. I do. I mean, nobody knows capitalism more than Mr. Green. I understand the system. However, like, maybe there just needs to be more like government regulated utility companies. Like, there's so many laws to skirt around stuff. that's really, I mean, there's a lot we could do that we don't do because it would, like I said, it'd be a lot of work. It'd be a lot of hard work for people, and nobody wants to do that.
As we mentioned, we're the only guys willing to carry this box.
Dude.
Uh, but
Hey, thank
I
you to the commenter out there. When I was looking at the YouTube channel, somebody was just like, there is a polar bear in that box. And I found that hilarious because it is the biggest gripe I've ever had with Lost. When I first started watching Lost, I never made it all the way through. I made it to like season 3 or 4. But I watched it and I remember I was like, somewhere along like between 2 and 3, I said, "Where's that polar bear?" You know that like so. Apparently, in the like first season of Lost, J.J. Abrams pulling a J.J. Abrams like didn't know what he was going to do, so he put a bunch of shotgun seeds of like ideas. And there was a polar bear out of a kid's comic that like kind of attacked him, and then we just never saw it again. And it became such a big plot point that they just dropped it off out of nowhere. And I think we all were just left like, well, where's that polar bear? And J.J. Abrams was like, you don't worry about that polar bear, okay? That polar bear was never here.
I mean, I definitely watched a bit. Well, because Lost came out that year, the year I think like the video iPod came out, and so that was the year. It was like, oh, there's try and watch like buy a show on iTunes or whatever, right?
Oh
And
God, yeah.
so I don't know when I don't know when I would have stopped watching Lost, but that's my memory of Lost. Is just like
I don't remember
just like
watching Lost.
another
That's
thing.
my memory of Lost.
Another
Good
thing.
TV
No, no,
show.
no. No, I don't remember when I stopped watching it, right? But I remember the others, and I remember them like switching, and it was just like another fucking thing every
It was
time.
another.
So I was like,
It was a
what's
layer on a layer. It was just an onion. You'd pull it back, and you're like, oh, they're like time jumping, but also they're also like in the afterlife, but not really. They're in purgatory, and then like the old guy that was handicapped is like pretending to be God now or something. None of it made sense. It all was just gibberish and garbage and
it's
just
like it's like
terrible TV writing.
it felt like this show that was like, what's behind this door? Another door,
Yeah,
right?
it's like
It's just like
it's one of those shows that when you get to the final season, they have to like totally replay the first season scenes again because you have
oh
no
my
idea
god,
what has happened
yeah,
between now and then. It's jumped around way too much. It's a save the
something.
world, but also nothing they do matters show because it's purgatory. Like the whole premise doesn't make fucking sense, isn't it? Like heaven? Didn't they end up in heaven at the end or something? Somebody out there who's watched Lost, please explain it to me in a very detailed format in the comic section. Please. What happens?
I know. I think yes. Please comment below. Share with your friends who love Lost and explain to us. We'll become a Lost podcast for the views. But
Probably. We're cheap whores these days, you know?
yeah, no. I have nothing else to say about the show.
We had a mystery box in here, and I opened it, and it turned out it was those FDA flavored vapes. Only in the economy of nothing do they sell vapes to kids. What did you think that was about, man?
Well, that all started around my time, Greeny, and I used to tell kids just keep smoking cigarettes. I think that one of the problems of my time is that kids weren't out there working in the coal mines and smoking cigarettes. You know what I mean?
I
They're,
do
they think
hear
these kids
that
too soft these days.
I do hear the children yearn for the mines with the game called Minecraft. They seem to have a good time.
This is what I'm saying. This is what the kids want. Is Minecraft and
And
well, you
nicotine
might as well.
addiction.
Well, I mean, you smoke cigarette, but you're going to get black lung anyway, right? So you
Yeah,
as
might as
well.
well just get it earlier. I mean, your life sucks probably. So
Yeah, I mean, but I've always thought it was weird that like there's never there's always an abundance of like fun goofy flavored vapes. There's never ones that taste like that are like tobacco flavored or something. There's
what's
always like one
crazy
of
is
those.
that used to be the only thing you could get, and
Yes.
now it's the only thing people want, and they can't find it. You could find Tutti Fruit Zebra, dark asshole flavor, but you can't find straight tobacco anymore.
Right? It's like because like everything else, the facade has fallen off, and it's like they had this thing called tobacco, and then corporations took it and put a bunch of more chemicals in it, And then people were like kind of turned on that idea. So they're like, all right, we'll take out the tobacco and just leave you with chemicals, right? And I'm like, that seems backwards. And also, like,
Did
I
you
don't
see the
know.
new John Oliver? Did you watch that?
Which one was this?
The Kratom addiction, or Kratom,
No.
some might say.
No, but I did work. I did work that like one day at that vape shop, so I know all about like. Yeah, this is like the new opioids. It's like
Dude,
people are taking
yeah.
it thinking it's like getting them off it, but it's like just as addictive.
No, it's dude, it's worse. It's
It's more
7OH.
addictive.
That so 7OH is 7OH is like 7 times powerful than like the one thing. It's the purest form of it. And I was watching the John Oliver. It's actually pretty scary. It like they just sell these one for like $15 and it's just readily available at any gas station. And I think the first thing I thought of is our joke in like gas station edibles. This is going to be a good bit, you know, dude. It was
Yeah,
so much wilder than I thought. And here's the thing, the kicker. So they have the guy giving a video on there, and he was the guy that first like jumped on the opportunity for all the legal Delta 9 stuff. And he goes,
yeah,
let me put it this way to you. The 7OH Kratom is already 3 times more successful than than all of our cannabis products put together, and we had a 10-year inventory surplus on that. So like they
yeah,
sold through. So they're saying that they've sold through a 30-year inventory in the first 3 months of this stuff. And then I was like, no fucking way. And then it
yeah.
shoots to this
Oh,
one guy, and he's
first of
like,
all, this
I've
stuff's
spent 100K on this stuff. And it is like, it is so many bottles of this stuff just piled up on the ground. And you're like, that is way too many. Like, how are you not dead? Eh,
oh yeah.
Yeah, man, dude, it's bad. And you know what? Here's the thing is that I did not know it was that bad. And I feel bad because I know somebody that did get addicted to kratom, and at the time, like no one knew, but I had no idea it had gotten that bad. That I mean, it's truly life ruining level drug. Apparently, the 7OH stuff is like, oh, apparently like doing heroin, like it is, or like 7 times more powerful than
Oh
heroin
yeah.
or something.
My like when I was talking, I was asking, but I barely ever even heard of it before, right? And when I was and like and they're like, yeah, like it. So it just sounds like it's like the thought I had was like people back in the day in like opium dens, right? And just
Yeah,
like people just take this stuff and just get laid the fuck out. I think is my understanding of how it works, right? Like it's not like a fun party time drug or something like that. This is like fucking
yeah.
hard,
You
like knock you
the
on your
what
ass, fucking
sucks is the
drugs.
people that have like been addicted to things before. You just know that like people have
Well,
tried that,
I
and then
think
they get
they've
more
been
addicted. Yeah,
yes, they've been recommending this type of stuff. Like, I mean, the addiction, it's an addiction economy, man. It's the economy of addiction, right? What we got you, man. Drugs, vapes, gambling, video games. What do you like, man? We got your addiction. Yo, you need to stream music. We got 1,000 different things and add-ons on top of that. Whatever you got, man. We got like the entire economy's some
the
guy on the street
economy is
corner
just
with like a
some
jazz
guy
thing, just
with a
being like, "Yo,
black
man,
jacket being like, "Yo, dude,
yo, I
you
got all
want
the
some of
new
this?
stuff. I
You
got
want
all
some
the
of
new
these
stuff."
prediction markets right here, man?
Dude,
First hundreds on me,
yeah,
homie."
man. It's like no, it really is. You go around like you go visit some other place, right? And the guy's walking around. He's like, "Hey, man, you want some cigars?" And you're like, "No, man, I'm good. I don't want any cigars." It's like, "Yo, man, I got weed too." It's like, "No, man, yo, we got coke too." Like he's
Yeah,
just
we
like,
got
"No, don't
yeah.
worry, we got
It's
like
like when
no
you
matter
go to
what you say no
Mexico and
to." But
they see you walking
yeah,
on the beach. They're just like,
yeah,
"Yo,
that's what I'm
what do
talking
you
about. Yeah,
need, bro?
yeah,
You ain't
yeah.
walking
That
away
like
from this without buying something."
don't worry. There's a version of whatever that ails you that is that's legal, right?
Yeah.
Which would all be fine, but like where are people yelling about like morality taxes and shit with this stuff? They're nowhere,
Yeah.
right? Everybody's so bought and paid for. Like no one has any fucking principles. Like everyone is so just like focused. Again, that's what they got you with the phone. They got you focused on like the next like 5 minutes and like 30 years from now.
Here's a
right?
great example of how they got you right now. Dude, I'm gonna be the street guy. I was like, hey man, do you want to talk to a chatbot that's the devil, that's Satan? Well, you got to pay extra money for that, and that's a real thing. That's a real thing called a Episcopalian, like, has a church, has a LLM thing where you can talk to God, but if you want to talk to Satan, you got to pay a monthly subscription fee.
Yeah, man, I believe it. Like, dude,
That's
the
crazy,
dumb
isn't
things
it?
that, yeah, dude, it's all, it's all
And
fair
I know
game
people
now,
are gonna do
everybody.
it. People are gonna do it and not question for a second that that is not, like, you don't see that
Because
you're being extorted.
no one earned any, no one in America is like, and I'm not, no one in America with extra income fucking earned it, kind of. Do you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
they're just spending it on whatever, right?
Oh yeah.
You either have enough money that you could just spend your money on whatever, or you don't have any money, you don't have any time to tell anyone you don't have any money, and no one cares, right? Like so they just do add-ons. Like, someone's gonna pay $10 for this golden sword in a fucking video game. Why wouldn't they charge someone? You know what I mean? Like, someone will do it.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
More, there's so many
I
people with more, what do they say? More money than sense, right? Like,
remember that time they put Bono and on our iPhones and we didn't ask for it.
that's the day the world died. Probably. We do one day need to hunt down the day that America died, and we'll put the U2 album being inserted on your iPhone as a potential thing. Though
I
the
think it might have
iPhone's
been.
already out, so it's going to be hard
But
to beat the
that was the
iPhone.
I know, but no, but see, that was like when the iPhone was like, okay, we're gonna bend on our morals too. Instead of giving you choice of music, you have to listen to this music. And no matter how many
Yeah,
times you delete it, it's gonna automatically download back and take up space every time you sync it to your computer.
it it is probably one of the first examples of, like, absolutely no consumer choice whatsoever, right?
Right. It just
And
shove it
I'm
down your throat. Yeah, yeah,
and I'm
yeah,
sh-
yeah, 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 yeah.
I'm sure when they calculated the inflation on the iPhone that year, they made sure to go, hey, remember, we're giving them more value per dollar this year because that YouTube album is worth $24.99.
Yeah. That's gonna justify our $500 price increase. Okay, this is what I wanted to actually ask you, Captain. You know, I can bring this up because, as you know, I am an alien, and I'm allowed to say this word. Okay,
Uh-oh.
so, so did you hear about in the distant past, when Tom DeLonge came out to America about the aliens, the disclosure again that was totally not about some sort of Stein files covering up. Did you hear
Wait,
about that?
disclosure? Did they release the
Dude,
unredacted
they
Epstein
did.
files?
Did you watch? No, 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 no. It was
Oh my god, I
disclosure of
can't
like
believe it.
aliens. It's aliens, right? Like they're trying to. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And Tom
Okay.
DeLonge like got
Sorry.
up there. They even got They even got Tom DeLonge, bro. They were like, Tom
Who
DeLonge would love to talk
for
about
the
this of his institute. I
for
love
the
Tom DeLonge. Don't get
listeners?
me wrong.
Who
Uh,
for the listeners? Who's Tom DeLonge?
he's on the Blink 182 band, the singer, and he created the institute of the. It was just more of that drone footage and stuff, but like it's
Okay.
just like the stuff with
No,
them
I
in the
did see it. I just
F-22s.
want.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
just like, oh, what are we declassifying it? But
I
yes,
just think
no.
it's funny,
I
like they
was,
will throw everything at this point.
dude,
Like, and
dude, it's
they will manufacture every headline either for
it
a pump a
is
dunk, like a look the other way, a little razzle dazzle.
aliens, everyone, aliens. But Green, we
I
know
am an
aliens
alien.
exist because you are an alien, right?
These guys are
But
freaking
like,
out over aliens, bro.
but
It's crazy.
but this is insane. Like, I've seen UFOs, right? Like, objects I couldn't identify, but I'm not a specialist at identifying things, right?
That's what I always find funny about UFO specialists on like any like history. It's like, well, it's hard to like. I get that. Yes, that person is a UFO specialist, but it's also hard to
But
be in the sense of like no one's actually got like a physical UFO. Like I get it's an unidentified flying object, but everybody knows when they say that you're thinking like, oh, some sort of No one's ever even like
Yes.
held a piece of debris that's like unidentified. So
Yeah.
that's the hard part about it, because it's like, how are you a specialist of something that like never is available for photo or touch or
I don't know. It's
anything?
gotta be a pretty sweet gig if you can get it, right? Like
And
the
everybody's fucking stories on that are always like, I don't even fall for it anymore when the shows are come on. Like, they get real good at trying to convince you, like they're about to show you something. They're like,
oh
dude,
god.
all of this could be faked. Like, this is Ed and
Like
Lorraine Warren like coming in here and let me
much
tell you
like
all the
mu-
ways this is just you
much
lying.
like the Kardashians, if there's any real drama, you would find about it in the newspaper, right? Like if someone discovered aliens, it wouldn't need to get declassified. No one would be able to keep that shit quiet. Are you crazy? Like, do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty sure they would just. Uh, yeah, there's just no way, right?
dude,
And
the
like,
government, like
don't you
the
think a
government can't.
philosopher throughout time would have like, if there were aliens, why wouldn't they have written about them? Like, there's always pictures of them, but I guess you couldn't write. I don't know. That
Well,
is a good question.
there's always there's I'm sure there's I don't know if it's real things people believe, but like in like weird movie lores and stuff, there'll be stuff like, oh, the gods were actually aliens from in the past, right, or something like that, and that's like, but like all of that's bullshit, right? We know that the gods didn't help the Egyptians build the pyramids, Greenie. You know what I mean? It was slave
That was
labor,
slavery.
but like you know,
Unfortunately, yeah.
and uh so yeah, no, I don't. It just seems to me that like they're not. I don't know. First of all, the government wouldn't can't do a good enough job of anything to cover this shit up. Second of all, like you know, just honestly, right? They would if there were aliens, we'd just be like looking at a green guy in the middle of Times Square, and they'd be like, "Nope, no aliens. Don't know what you're talking about." Right? Like that's how that would go.
I think we would
But
just like, we would, it would literally just be like that South Park episode where they discuss Man Bear Pig coming back for the second time, and he's in that restaurant, and the guy's going, and he's like, "Okay, so Man Bear Pig exists. What are we gonna do about it, right? Like, there's nothing we can." Like, just as it's like ripping up
yeah,
attendance and just pretending to still not give a shit about it.
yeah, I used to think in my younger, more naive days, Greenie, back in my time, that like, well, what if aliens actually existed? You'd think that maybe that would like coalesce humanity together more or something. But I don't know that I think
I
that
used to think
anymore,
that,
right?
yeah,
I think
like
we'd
a
all just start,
Independence Day. Yeah.
yeah, I don't know. I think we'd all just start tearing each other apart, right?
I think it would bring a moment of like peace for a short period of time. Like, it's WW2, however long that stretch of peace has been until now, but probably not
Yeah,
even
but
really,
we get
right?
into a huge argument. Like,
Of what
imagine
is
all
actually
of
peace, right? Like, what is peace
what
compared to,
like the
yeah.
UN Security Council is going to all agree on like what to do about it and who's going to pay for it and like who gets to go. Like, nah, right? Like,
The problem is that we've do you think it's funny that the system that everybody at this point, because everybody has a computer, they have some idea how it works, right? And then they know, if anything's the matrix, it's the money's the matrix, right? Because they're putting everything on the matrix, and that money is just, it's zeros
yeah,
and ones, man. It's like, it's
it is
really
fun.
stupid when you think about
Well,
it.
we already live in the matrix, right?
Yeah.
Because computers decide everything. Here's the story. I was driving back from a trip and I got pulled over by by a cop because it said my license was suspended. It's like, what do you mean? It says your license is suspended for not having uh, uh, insurance. And I was like, well, here's my insurance card and here's my license. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? And it just like wasn't true. But it's like, nope, the computer says so, so I'm taking your car, right? And that happens to everyone everywhere all the time, right? Like you go to the bank just says, no, this is the number. Like you couldn't go talk to a bank manager long enough to convince the bank you had a different fucking number, right?
That's a good point. I guess if it definitely could happen. I'm not saying it. It definitely probably does happen, but it hasn't happened to me. That's all I know.
right?
Yeah.
Like it seems unlikely, right? That
Yeah.
like you'd be able to pull that off.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I don't know.
Who knows?
But
But
yeah, but it is. I mean, it is the system. Like money is the system that holds the world together, right? It's not like in
yeah, and
like
speaking about
it's not
money,
it's not
Mike,
religion or something. Yeah.
what do you think
I do
about
love money.
Michael Saylor selling
Oh,
his
I don't care.
Bitcoin off to pay dividends? What did you think about that? Wasn't the whole
Oh,
point to not do that?
I
Because
mean
Bitcoin
that
is like,
either.
how many stupid Michael Saylor like memes or jokes or videos did you see that was just like Bitcoin is the future and all this stuff, and it's like, yet it still has to fucking answer to shareholders. If you really
Yeah,
think about
man.
it.
Well, and maybe this part will come out, probably not. But like that's kind of what happened with the foundation was it started like, oh, we're gonna change education. All this information's out there. We can change how everything's gonna be or whatever. And now it ends with them just being like Saylor University and getting accredited by Florida, right? And it's like, oh, so no disruption to whatsoever, just probably pocketing some money. Cool, right? Like,
Absolutely. And it's just
uh,
hilarious to me that the whole thing of Bitcoin is like sovereign money that's like decentralized. And it's like, it's decentralized until you let the fox into the hen house. And now look what you got. You got four sellers, two shareholders who make decisions at MicroStrategy to get paid out in Bitcoin. But if you're not like the top tier shareholders, most of retail is a common one, that does not benefit the average person at all. That only makes that's like just if your whole mission is to buy Bitcoin and never sell it, you should never buy MicroStrategy because all you're doing is jumping into someone
yeah.
else's sandbox,
It
really.
Well, like this is the hat on the hat on the hat. Like it doesn't make a lot of this stuff doesn't make any logical sense, right? Like to your exact point, knowing that like knowing that would mean that like you would never put money into it. So why would anyone put money into it? So
Why
then
would
its
anyone put
price would
money into it? No one should be
it
putting money into it. That's my
so
point.
its price should be going down, which should mean it should have to sell off its stock. So this is either like it
I think
them
we what
hitting
I
the
think in
actual
order to
business reality,
yeah.
or the grift's over and now they can just do it like it's business.
Oh, the grift is definitely over, and now they can do it like it's business. That's what happened. Let me be clear. This thing will go on forever because people are dumb, most likely.
Mama, take this badge off from me.
Have you ever heard of trickle down economics, Captain?
Oh, you mean excuse me, you mean supply side economics?
Yeah,
Excuse me.
but if you
How
had to give
dare
a
you use such a slur? What a slur you've used, trickle down. How dare you? These job creators are out here making the engine of the economy move,
all right,
and
so
you're
I have a theory.
disparaging them.
I have a theory. Okay, so it dawned on me today that at this point it's undeniable that the S&P 500 is going up because of AI spending due to the Mag 7 hyperscalers spending their money, their capex on stuff for the infrastructure build out of AI. Like they're going to make it work no matter what. And that spend goes from the Mag 7 and trickles down into companies that'll be like, Caterpillar will be building data centers. Um, you know, Hubble would be like upgrading the grid for data centers. Like there's a lot of places the money can go. All right. I think the whole grift of of his side of the party right now, or anyone that's just okay with it, is they're going to prove that trickle down economics exist by the money flowing from the company stock to a company stock to a company stock. But here's where it goes. Here's where it doesn't actually trickle down. but from like the stock market, which everyone's watching perspective right now, because it's the show, right? It's the greatest show on earth. It's what it is. It's what they all want to.
No Barnum and Bailey
I know.
circus.
I'm
Pay
just saying,
us.
like they're gonna prove trickle down economics is gonna work this way and just pop off, and it's gonna it's gonna keep
But I
working.
mean, they've been.
I know,
I don't think.
yeah,
I
but
don't think
it
they
gets
need
to a
to.
company. My saying is, it gets down to a company level, and then it gets to like a manager, and then you're a manager, and it's like, and then your managers get to dictate because the company's going to make all the money. Whoever's the owner and founders, and then that founder gets to dictate how much money gets spent out, and then some manager gets to dictate how much of those people can get money on it, and most likely all of those people were going to be underpaid. So it's like it trickles down, but no matter how much money trickles down at one time, like it could be 1 penny going down like a Plinko machine, or it could be 100 pennies. By the time it gets down to the people of the companies,
Yeah,
you're
well, I
getting
mean,
like 2 pennies per company. Like it's not the same thing. It's like you
well,
talked about those lawsuits and settlements, like class actions. It's just nothing. You get $80 for signing a piece of paper. What does that do?
yeah, I mean, well, I mean, the fun, the funny thing is like the reason you don't hear anyone say trickle down economics is because like it's like it's like it's telling you what it is, right? And at this point, trickle is like I don't know, is a bit too generous, right? To say any of
Yeah.
this money's trickling down, like they're extracting it up, right?
Yeah, but
This is an extraction economy, dude. They're fracking your fucking bank accounts, right? They're fracking your wallets.
and
You
just
know what I mean? Like
sucking it
they
all
know
up, boys.
exactly how much money you have, and they're trying to like take it from you.
The World Economic Forum says you will own nothing and be happy. Think about that. That's what their
Yeah, but
goal is.
like obviously you're not going to be happy, right? Like why would you be happy? Like I would be happy if no one owned anything. Maybe that would work, right? But obviously no one's going to be happy when they own nothing and some people own so much shit, right?
Jeff Goldblum in Jurassic Park says a line that
We never asked. Everyone asked whether they could do it. No one asked whether we should do it. Yeah, no. Everyone should think about that every fucking day, every time one of these fucking things happening.
yeah, but
What
he
is
goes.
wrong with
I like
everyone?
that. I do like the deeper one because he does start with that. He's like nobody. You never stop to ask if you should do it because you didn't earn the knowledge. You stood on the shoulders of great thinkers and then just made this and assumed that you could do it, that you should. You never stopped to think that you never stopped to think if it was the right thing to do because you didn't earn the knowledge was his point. And I mean,
Yes.
play that on the screen because that is something
No, no.
people should think about on
Well,
everything.
I'll do it as a short. I mean, I'm not going to get the
Obviously.
long form in trouble. But no, man, it is true, right? But it's the same thing as like they're like, oh, aren't all these rich guys the smartest guys in the world? It's like no, they just have the most money because of bullshit mostly, right? Like. And but like we're looking and like well no they're gonna figure it out, they have the plan for the future. I'm like what, based on fucking what? The guy that's delivering you fucking toilet paper is gonna solve all our problems?
No.
Fucking for what? Like the guy that bought Twitter, right? Like I don't. The guy
Yeah,
that came up with Facebook,
he
like
threw out a kitchen sink as a publicity stunt, and like I don't know why, but why did anyone take that serious? Like if anyone else did that at any other job, would you not think that that's stupid?
because people because everyone's bought and paid for, no one's allowed to, right? You just think about it, though. But it's true of everywhere. Everyone's ever. The boss does something, and then the second in command's like, "Oh yeah, that's pretty good." And then by the time it gets down to anyone, like, who's gonna complain? No one at Twitter. And then like, then the only people that have anything to say are like people on Twitter. And then like, well, what the fuck even gives a
And
shit,
that's like
right?
2/3 of them are fake.
But
So
it's one of those things like it worked, right? You still remember it for some fucking reason, right? Like it all fucking worked. This is what they want,
I'm
right?
so
Like
mad that it worked, Captain. I'm so mad. I hate it all. Yet
I really am trying to figure out like how to like stay up on like what's happening in the world without like getting pulled into like the TMZ of everything. Do you know what I mean? Of like, listen,
it's
I
impossible at
don't
this point.
like. I want to know what's going on with like the ballroom thing, but like whether or not Stephen Miller used his wife as a human shield, like, isn't like a thing. You know what I mean? Like, I know the answer without having seen or known anything. I know what he did, but you you don't have to tell me. But like, it just. Like, this isn't gonna change anyone's mind. Like, there is no one in the world. Like, that's the problem. Is like the biggest stories, the biggest clicks are like the things that aren't gonna change anyone's minds for any reason, right? You know what I mean?
know,
Every news story.
It's just such pandering. I believe the word is pandering, right?
Yes,
Yes.
we're playing. You know, I was gonna say there's an old saying, you play to the cheap seats, right? But cheap seats don't exist anymore. So like, I don't know what you say, right? But like,
we're all the cheap seats, and we're all the
yeah.
cheap seats.
Well, you're playing to the people at home, right? You're not
Yeah.
playing to the audience in the stadium. You're playing to the people at home, right? Like,
Yep.
yeah.
You are.
The Roman circus used to have free bread, Mike. Do you know what I mean?
What?
Like when they were when Rome was falling, they distracted some people. You know what I mean? We're just
At
like,
least they gave out free bread.
like, don't you think they could do something cool to distract us? Like, the alien thing wasn't even, and there are aliens.
Is that what the UFC fight on the lawn is supposed to be?
Do you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
like it just seems like you would want to do a thing that people would like.
You would think.
Right? There's not. It just seems like there has to be a thing that like the government could do that wasn't incredibly intentionally divisive, right? You feel like I don't know. Like, what if we like built a nice park? Can we build? You know what I mean? Like, no, there's no way you could do it.
Never in our life of politics have we needed a Leslie Knope type character just to like
dude,
build us a park.
Dude, it is funny like how much like I watched a little Parks and Rec a couple weeks ago, and I was like it's a little, it's funny how like civil some of this seems actually kind of now, right? Like they're in like the the town meetings where people are always yelling at her and stuff, and I'm like, oh, this is so germane. Like, this is silly. These aren't even conspiracy theories. These people are fine. Let them teach at schools. Like, do you know what I mean? Like this, like I
love
don't know. Like,
I love when they make fun of the thing. And it's like the big gulp is like 128 ounces.
Yeah. Yeah, you call this a kid? You call this a kid size? And you're like, oh yeah, well, it's roughly the size of a liquefied 4-year-old or something. That show, dude, the first dude, especially Leslie Knope runs for city council. All that stuff's so good. It's
very well written show. I do enjoy
that.
it.
Yeah, no, like
I do love the idea of. So I'm essentially. I think Mr. Green is partially based off Ron Swanson, because Ron Swanson's whole like shtick is like, if I have to get a job, I'm going to do it for the government, and I'm going to make it so that they don't get any bigger. Like, just be he hates them, right?
It would be better, right? Like, you don't want to be the king, right? You want to be like the vassal of the king or whatever. You know, you don't like.
Yeah, here's a line that really sticks with me from The Departed, where, as you know, Mike, The Departed is one of my
Patriot Act.
Yeah. Patriot Act. Patriot Act. Did we ever find out? Did you ever see that scene? Did you see where Alec Baldwin was?
Dude, I meant to look it up. I will. I'll look it up.
Okay. Well, that's a little tidbit for the Patreon, right? Yeah. But anyway, so Patriot Act. No, but there's a line in there where Jack Nicholson is like trying to get Leonardo DiCaprio's character to be like, "Are you the rat, bro?" You know, when he's like, you can learn a lot watching things eat. And he eventually is like, who do you think can do what you do better than you do? And he's like, oh. And then he's like, do you want to be me? No, I don't want to be you, Frank. Right? And then he goes, heavy lies the crown type of shit. You know? And it's like, yes. Right? I mean, I do think about that, right? I think if you want to get in a whole theme on this episode, right? The reason that we in the distant past, there were some leaders out there that you're like, how the hell did they get elected? And I think it's a lot of that, right? It's like, I think there's two things going on. I think one, because we hide behind ideals and things that become our identity rather than understanding the power that we have within us to create change. It just takes like hard work, honestly. But that, I think what happens is a lot of people start to make change, and then they gain more responsibility, and that could either feel like a lot on top of a busy life, or that could feel like a lot of work coming your way, and you could be very anxious about it. But I feel like everybody, once they get in the motion of just like, when they're hitting their stride, they hit these like mental walls, and it's like, if I just break through this mental wall, I can go to the next. I can like level up. But I think a lot of people are like, but do I want to? Heavy lies the crown. Because it's a lot of work. It's not like it's easy. Just like you said, you got good at animating. You did 1,000 hours, man. A lot of people don't take the step to even, like, they'll do 10 and be like, I'm done, man,
I think. All right. Well, the first thing I'll say is I think probably my feelings on kings is probably like the same as my feelings on like CEOs and stuff. Is like maybe we shouldn't take the king's word for how hard it is to be the king, right? And also like there's plenty of people who like aren't doing the work or whatever. I don't want to necessarily accuse other people of not doing it, but all you can do is look at what the type of effort everyone's putting into everything else, and you kind of have to think maybe, you know what I mean? Like, but I think I don't know. I don't know where we're going.
I don't know where I was going with that either. I do think though that there is just an element there of like, sometimes it's like a look before you leap, whereas other people aren't looking. And I do think
Yeah, well, I mean, I think
there's a level of being scared and like unprepared,
right,
that
and
helps you kind of overcome in a way.
So then, like I think that's where we would be coming down and like, well, so then if we could say one nice thing about Donald Trump is that he has like the courage to not care what people think about him, right? It's like, no, he has the bank account to not care what people think about him. Or more specifically, he has the land holdings to make it not so it doesn't matter what people think about him, right? Like that's not courage, right? Well, I said before, like, no, courage is the idea of overcoming fear, right? So there are a lot of people who like maybe aren't going to the next step because they're afraid and they're not like, and they don't have the courage to overcome it. But again,
that's certainly true.
It's with Warren Buffett and stuff, right? Is it risk if it's just extra money you have lying around?
Oh, and that's it for tonight, folks. EconomyOfNothing.com.